6:30, we have a poll. We'll call the workshop to order.
Okay.
First item is item 1. Item 2. Item 3.
Yes, Mayor, I have not to ask for clarification on item 3.
Yes, sir.
Basically, I guess it's kind of a three-part question, actually. My first part of it is, it costs more, I believe, for an ambulance run into this rural area more than we're getting for being paid $248 point some dollars. And my question is, are we being reimbursed that difference in some other category other than what's stated here? And I guess the second part of it is, in the back of material, it stated that we were going to bill the ambulance company and the client or victim, however you choose to put it. And my question, part of that question is that a change from billing Denton County previously? And if it is, it seems like to me we're getting involved, or potentially getting involved in a collection issue if the person is homeless or doesn't have insurance or refuses to pay, where if it was with Denton before, why are we choosing to potentially put ourselves in that position?
There's really no change in how this agreement works. I'm going to look to the chief, and correct me, chief, if I'm wrong on any of this, but bottom line is we have always billed the ambulance runs, and so we will continue to bill for the ambulance runs. If we bill for the ambulance run, we don't also charge Denton County. So we do pay Denton County a readiness fee because obviously
they pay us a readiness.
They pay us a readiness fee. But we would not be billing Denton County and actually filing it with the insurance company.
And you are correct. We get more money by billing the patient's insurance company than by billing Denton County. So we choose to go that route. It is in place. If we wanted to bill Denton County for that call, we could in lieu of the patient's insurance. But if they have insurance, we're going to collect more money to cover the cost of that call, and we choose to do that.
Now, Tim, I don't know the answer to this question. If we were not paid, if we billed it and we did not receive payment, and I don't know if that's ever happened, would we then turn around and bill Denton County?
It hasn't happened. It would be one of those, if we encountered a patient where we felt like, number one, well, and that's a question we asked, whether they had insurance or not, and if they didn't, and we felt like we're probably going to have a hard time collecting from them anyway, we can turn around and choose to bill the county and at least recoup some of that cost. But most of the people that we deal with, by and large, have insurance, and we choose to go that route because we do recoup more back for the cost of the call.
And remember, we also this year we have that agreement where we will start getting reimbursed for non-insured and Medicare ambulance runs. Part of this year's budget package.
I'm sorry?
Was it an agreement that we came up with? It was part of the budget package. Remember we discussed when we were having an agreement with McKesson, and there's some money that's available through the state to now reimburse us that, and we anticipate that to be $300,000. So
okay.
Which is not in place yet. But we're working
It now
towards.
is in place.
Is it?
Yes, it is
Okay,
in
it is in
place.
place.
For this year, we will get that, we
We
got the
will get
first
that
month
reimbursement
left.
after 2015, we'll get that check in 2016.
But we have signed the agreement now.
And
Okay.
it's gonna be somewhere around $380,000.
All right, thank you both.
Yeah, not on that 55,000,
The readiness fee?
the ready, that's a cash payment up front.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's just to cover us being ready to go out.
That's correct.
If they haven't called or don't have a call.
That's correct. That's a fee because we provide the fire service that's ready to respond at any time.
Yeah, so the county is paying something up front.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So if we don't have a lot of calls, we make a little extra. If we have a lot of calls, we don't.
We're-
Could look at it that way.
Yeah, we're still billing the insurance company.
Sure.
Mayor,
Thank
my,
you.
my apologies, but I was arguing with my iPad to get the agenda up. Can we go back to item 2 for a moment? Because I did speak with the city manager earlier today because I was unclear on exactly how this worked. And so I asked her if she could just give us a quick briefing on how this functions.
Certainly, the way this works, it actually gives us a couple of different companies that are on call. So when our air conditioning system in one of the buildings goes out, we have somebody that's on contract that we could call. If we didn't have that, we'd be having to get 3 quotes before we could actually hire someone to come in. And believe me, when HVAC goes out, we start getting calls from the department. So we do not pay anything to these companies unless work is performed, which I believe is the
That
main
was the key
question.
question. Okay, thank you.
So what was your iPad's argument?
It wouldn't be.
Prevail.
I nearly prevailed.
Item 4. Item 5.
This item just brings your policy statement into compliance with IRS regulations.
Item 6.
Always good news when we don't have to pay. Arbitrage?
So what is the 3 supplemental appropriations? Which direction do they travel if we have no arbitrage?
That's actually payments basically for the work that has to be done for the arbitrage calculation.
Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty complicated calculation.
Yes.
It has to be performed. So when you have zero arbitrage liability, that actually means that the investments that you're making on the bond money is less than the
The
cost of the
interest.
bond. Correct,
The interest you're making?
correct.
Okay.
Item 7. Item 8.
This is the resolution adopting your legislative agenda. This is your legislative agenda that's in front of you. And it is per our discussion that we had several meetings ago. This is the document that we'll use to follow as bills are introduced, so that if letters are necessary to support or oppose, we'll basically be following a direction that is outlined here.
I did have one. Did we change anything on that from when we did it a few weeks ago?
There
The
may
cover letter
be-
was different, but
It should be basically the same information that we covered. The one thing we talked briefly about potentially is sales tax with the DCTA sales tax being collected in Castle Hills. And at this time, we've made a decision probably not to pursue that until next legislative session. That would be the only major issue. James, do you have any questions?
That's the only change from what you saw last time is the sales tax page.
item 9.
We
Item-
did
go ahead.
close on this property last week, by the way, council. This project is moving forward.
Item 10.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Sure.
On 9, same stipulation that if they put paving over it and we have to go underneath the paving,
That's
that they're
correct.
gonna replace it.
Yes, Eric did communicate that.
Makes Neil happy.
I know.
Makes me extremely happy.
Item 10. And item 11.
I did ask Eric if you had any questions about item 11, but I thought we would just show it to you so you understood exactly what we were talking about on this particular item. Eric, you want to explain that? You've got the pointer, the finger up there.
So this is Vista Ridge Mall Drive to the south right here. 121 to the north. This is the portion of the road that's being abandoned. So if I kind of got where, understand where that is, and then, and this is the ground view, I believe looking north. It's already blocked off. It's been blocked off quite some time, so this is looking north, I believe, back toward 121. So it's just the northern half that's being abandoned right now. There is third party to the south, and the right of way. It's prescriptive right of way, so that's what's being abandoned. So the property to the south is not being abandoned at this time.
This was part of an agreement back in 2009.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, this is part of an agreement when the property owner dedicated the right-of-way for Vista Ridge Mall Drive.
So this is really more of a cleanup. We just wanted
Yes.
to bring it back and have you officially abandon the property.
So who's going to be responsible for maintenance now? Still us?
No, it would be their property now. It would
Okay,
be
so
the
they
private
will be,
now.
okay.
Correct.
Just because it's just the easement, okay. Any other questions? Judith?
Yes.
Rita? Donna?
Yes, sir.
We're adjourned. We have a quorum. We'll call City Council meeting in order. First item on the agenda is invocation. It'll be led by Councilman Vaughn, and then pledge both American and Texas flags led by Councilman Tierney.
Please stand and join me for a moment of silent prayer. Thank you.
Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Give us a holler ahead of time.
At least on a Wednesday before.
Next item is the Visitor Citizen Forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting, and I did not have anyone asked to speak. Next item is consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. I did not have anyone have asked to have any item pulled from the consent agenda. Councilman Ferguson.
Yes, move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Ferguson to approve consent agenda, second by Councilman Vaughn. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9 is consideration of a variance to Louisville City Code Section 9.598E1A regarding water line requirements for fire protection related to Louisville Town Square located on the northwest corner of Church Street and Charles Street as requested by John Measles, P.E. of John Thomas Engineering representing Old Town Development, LLC. The subject property is proposed to be developed with 3 restaurants per the Economic Development Agreement approved by City Council on March 17, 2014. The 1.9-acre property is being platted into 3 lots in the Louisville Town Square addition. The plat was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission on January 6, 2015. Staff has reviewed and approved the Old Town Development Plan subject to the city approval of a variance to allow placement of paving and a trash enclosure within the 15-foot restricted water line easement. Recommendation of staff is that council approve the variances set forth in the above caption with the stipulation that the property owner will be responsible for the pavement and dumpster enclosure repairs within the easement due to any city repair or replacement of the water line. Councilman Vaughn.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Okay, that's all right.
Have a motion.
We made a point.
Had a motion to approve as presented by Councilman Vaughn with the stipulations and a second by Councilman Ferguson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10 is consideration of a variance to the Louisville City Code Section 6-103C2A access spacing regarding driveway spacing requirements related to Garden Ridge Assisted Living located at 301 North Garden Ridge Boulevard as requested by Doug Weaver, P.E. of G&A Consultants, LLC, on behalf of the owner. The subject site is a 1.403-acre lot zoned medical district and light commercial within the Garden Ridge Church of Christ addition located near the northeast corner of Garden Ridge Boulevard and Main Street. City Council approved the rezoning of the property on November 17, 2014. The property owner is proposing to develop the property from a self-service car wash to an assisted living facility. Staff has reviewed and approved the engineering site plan subject to the council approval of a variance to reduce required separation between driveways to less than 230 feet. Recommendation of staff is that council approve the variance as set forth in the caption above. I do have 2 speaker cards here filled out, one by Doug Weaver and one by Chip Tabor. However, both of them do not wish to speak, but they're here to answer any questions if anyone had any questions. Councilman Durham.
If there's nothing else, I move to approve per the recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Durham to approve as per the recommendation, second by Councilman Tierney. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11 is consideration of an ordinance providing for the abandonment of an unnamed road right-of-way south of State Highway 121 business, north of Vista Ridge Mall Drive, and east of High Point Oaks Drive. The City of Louisville and Hawkeye Realties, Schreiber LTD, entered into a program grant agreement in February of 2009 stipulating the city would abandon the subject prescriptive right-of-way parcel to the adjacent owners in exchange for dedication of right-of-way for the extension of Vista Ridge Mall Drive. The Vista Ridge Mall Drive extension was completed in November 2011. The right-of-way to be abandoned is roughly 370 feet long by 36 feet wide. A 15-foot wide utility easement adjacent to the west line of the abandoned parcel will be dedicated by the developer simultaneously with the filing of the abandonment deeds to accommodate existing overhead electric and telephone service. Recommendation of staff is that council approve the ordinance as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Tierney.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve as presented by Councilman Tierney, a second by Councilman Durham. Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lewisville, Texas, providing for the abandonment, vacation, and closure of the following street segments, to wit, an unnamed road right-of-way south of State Highway 121 Business, north of Vista Ridge Mall Drive, and east of High Point Oaks Drive, and providing for the terms and conditions of the abandonment, vacation, and closure, and declaring an emergency.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to reports. Nika? Bob? Chief? Linda? Chief?
No, sir.
Carol?
No, we're having technology issues over here. Yes, Mayor, just want to remind you that we have been out cleaning up some of the corridors, and we did the 121 corridor last week. Can you hear me a little better?
There we go.
We actually had a person call in and say that, they didn't like the wet look, so we went out there and cleaned up the 121 corridor, and hopefully we'll have a few weeks before that comes back. And then starting this week, we're actually going to go to Mesquite Creek and clean on the east side of Mill Street, so that should be visible to passersby as well. So we're trying to cover some of those areas now when we can get down in the creeks this time of year, and then when we do get some calls, we'll do the corridors as they come up as well.
It's great work, and it's making a big difference, and I hear citizens commending us on it a lot, so that's good work. We appreciate it. If you will, pass that on to everybody that's out there doing that work. Gina? Brenda? Mr. Ferris? Mr. Backus? Councilman Durham? Councilman Tierney?
Nothing, sir.
Councilman Gilmore?
Mayor, I've made a tragic and difficult mistake. I've actually volunteered to be part of the Big D climb, and I'm actually representing council on this one. It's 58 stories vertical for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and our city staff, the police, fire department, we've got at least 25 staff members who will be attending this as well. So should be a great time, a painful time, and I'm looking forward to represent city council on this, probably by bringing up the rear and carrying lots of ice.
Did we approve that he's representing us?
As good a shape as you're in, I'm sure you won't have a problem. You'll probably lead the pack.
We'll figure it out. But I wanted to thank city staff for the opportunity and for all the folks that are volunteering at this great event.
Well, thank you for doing that, especially on behalf of the council. We appreciate it. Ms. Barron?
Mayor, since I'm also part of that challenge, I will be the one in the rear, so don't worry about the councilman.
We would maybe like to have somebody stay back there with Councilman Gilmore, just for safety precautions.
Well, perhaps that will be my excuse for coming in last.
Well, thank you both for representing us and doing a great job. We appreciate that. Councilman Ferguson.
Thank you, Mayor. So you'll have to be patient. I've got a few things.
That's all right.
I'd been watching lake levels since it looks like starting about October. They've been kind of pretty much on the climb, and I think last time I looked about when the rain started coming, we were 7 inches down. A lot of people don't think that's very much, but it's lake's kind of a flat bowl, so 7 inches is a lot of water. But I hadn't checked the latest lake level to see what runoff did for us, and I thought we might have gotten some good runoff. So where are we at?
We're still just about 7 feet down.
7 inches. I said inches. Feet.
Yeah. But a lot of times, it's when it's as dry as it is, we don't really see a lot of that runoff. But now we got considerable amount of rain Thursday, Friday, and we might see a little tick up. But if we get another rain this weekend like we expect, the ground is still wet, so I expect that we would see that come up. But I did notice on the weather map that I get an update, once a week, I guess, that we are not in the severe drought area anymore. We're in the moderate. So yep. That's the change.
Yep.
But every little bit helps. But we're still getting ready and prepared in case that we don't get very much rain.
Okay. Thank you. That's always good news when we get water. So MCL Grand, first of all, I don't know how many of y'all were at Ruthie Foster last Saturday. I know the city manager was there, and I think some of the rest of you were there. It was an amazing show. I always ask the audience how many are here for the first time, and that was an overwhelming show of hands. So if you wonder, does the Texas Tune Series bring us visitors, I guarantee it brings a lot of visitors. So that was rewarding to see all those hands go up, first-time attendees, and I think a lot of them will come back and start to take in Texas tunes and maybe some of the other opportunities in the city.
And
So-
very few vacant seats.
Very few vacant seats. It was almost a full auditorium. So on that note, we have the Waymores of the Texas, coming on the Texas Tune Series. They'll be here February 21st. It's always the third Saturday of the month. And in conjunction with that, there'll be a songwriter workshop during the day. Those are often very, very heavily attended and very, very popular. So if you play an instrument or just want to watch people making music and coming up with new songs, then put that on your calendar for the day, or at least put the Waymores on your calendar for that evening. We have Healthy You at the Medical Center of Louisville continues. This time it's on food allergies. That's January 27th, and I believe they moved their time to 7 p.m. It used to be 6 or 6:30. Maybe, or I don't know. I know they've moved their time a little bit. Texas Act Fest, which is the Association of Community Theaters, is coming back for what they call Quad 2, which is a series of presentations by different community theaters. They'll do an act from one of their plays, and it'll be judged against other community theaters. It's a real entertaining weekend. January 30th and 31st. Be a lot of fun, and highly recommend that you take it in or take in part of it. The Visual Art League acoustic jams are still taking place on Friday evenings at 7 p.m. Art exhibit, we have, and this is, I think, always exciting every year when we get this. We're going to start the LISD school exhibits with the senior high student exhibit, and that will be through January 31st. And then a series called Abstract will be presented by Visual Arts League in the corridor through February 7th. And then finally, TNT's, quote, The Nature of Texas exhibit will be presented by the Visual Arts League February 7th through March 21st in the gallery. And that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the report, sir. Councilman Vaughn.
Nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilor?
No, sir.
Julie? Also, we want to thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate everything you do each and every day of your service. Thank you, sir. With that, in accordance with Texas Government Code, Subchapter D, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, legal issues related to the construction of Old Town Park Plaza, Section 551.072, real estate property acquisition, and Section 551.087, economic development regarding development negotiations. We now convene into closed session.